What's up, YouTube? ProTech here, back with another video for you today. This video is going to be a little different. I wanted to address some of the questions that I get during my live stream. And this video is going to be the top 5 questions that I get during my live stream. Number 1, is StarCraft worth playing? So the short answer to this is it really all just depends on what you're looking for when you sit down to play a game. What I can tell you is, for me, I like the idea of collecting resources, building an empire, and using those resources to train troops, army, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And then using small amounts of army to have skirmishes and, you know, little battles, and then ultimately it leading up to a big battle. Now, of course, you know, this type of style of game is not going to be for everybody, but that's where the fun resides for me. You know, if you are a big MMORPG player, StarCraft may not necessarily be for you, because it's a completely different genre. And not to mention, this game is it's a very hard game. It's not an easy game to play, and it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort to get good at. However, out of all of the games that I've played, you know, whether that be Diablo 3, whether that be Final Fantasy XIV Online, World of Warcraft, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, League of Legends, this, that, and the other thing, StarCraft is by far the most rewarding game I have ever played, because once you get good at the game, and obviously it's going to be different for everybody, but it can become a very, very, very hard addiction to break. So, is StarCraft worth playing? For me personally, yes. I think at the very least, everybody should at least try the game out. If you haven't tried the game out, you should at least try it, because I believe that the RTS genre is very underrated, and I think that it has a massive potential to reach lots of people who are looking for a different experience when playing the game. So yes, I believe playing StarCraft is absolutely worth playing. Number 2, what race should I play? When starting out playing StarCraft 2, I am a very firm believer in playing the random race. And the reason for this is because there is no real right answer to this question, because of the games that are out there, StarCraft 2 is not really one of them that you can just say, oh, I like the human race, so I'm going to play Terran. Oh, I like the alien race, so I'm going to play Zerg. Or I like the futuristic race, so I'm going to play Protoss. Like, I don't really think that a lot of people who actually get into StarCraft base their decision on those factors. Some people do, obviously, and I'm sure there's a lot of people do, but I think the most people that actually take the game seriously and actually get into it, I don't think that that's their thought process. Originally it might be, but as they play the game more and understand the game more, I think that that kind of dissipates. So for me personally, the race that you pick should be the race after playing lots and lots and lots of games with all 3 races. Now, for me personally, the reason I don't play a main race is just because I get really bored doing the same thing over and over again, right? And that's one of the things that you have to consider when you pick up StarCraft 2 when you're deciding what race to play, is that if you are going to play a single race, then you're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. Yes, there are variations in builds and this, that, and the other thing that you can, make the game not so stale. But when you get to a really high rank or a really high level in this game, you're basically going to be doing the same thing over and over again. So when you first start out playing this game, my recommendation is just to play random. Play about 5,000 to 6,000 games of random. Now that may seem like a lot, but if you're a dedicated StarCraft 2 player, 5,000 to 6,000 games is literally nothing. And if you still at that point feel like you need to pick a race, then do it after you've experienced all 3 races, because I can assure you that if you do end up getting to a reasonable level with all 3 races, the game will be a hell of a lot more fun for you to play. And that would be my recommendation for you. Number 3, how much should I play to get good? When we talk about the time that you need to invest into StarCraft 2 to be good, that's kind of a hard thing to answer. And the reason for this is because there are people out there who play 2 hours a day and go professional. There are people who play 12 hours a day and never break diamond. But I think when you're first starting out playing the game, I actually believe it's a little counterproductive to play a super massive amounts at the start. And the only exception of this would be if you are actually truly enjoying yourself. I think that when you first start playing StarCraft, I think the best amount of time that you can put into the game would be about 4 hours a day. Going any more than that, I think, is a little counterproductive. Now, this is, of course, when we're addressing how to get good. I think playing more than 4 hours a day is counterproductive because you're going to drain yourself really fast. And as time goes on, you're probably going to lose motivation. So if you are playing with the intent to get good at the game, my recommendation to you is to play about 4 hours per day. And once you break, I'd say about master, like once you get to master rank, then I would recommend putting in more time. Because, the meta shifts a lot, players develop new strategies, there are things that are discovered, constantly. And to really stay up to date with those changes, you really have to play a lot of StarCraft to stay, at a good rank. So if you're going into it with the intention of going professional or even getting Grandmaster, after you've broken that Master promotion, my recommendation would be to play about 6 to 8 hours a day. Number 4, can I go pro? So when we talk about going pro, you have to understand there is a difference between like a top Grandmaster level player and a tournament level player. There's a big difference. In Grandmaster, those are like the top 2% of players, but the tournament level players is much lower. It's more like 0.001% or something like that. And so when people ask me if they can go pro or if it's possible to go pro, I absolutely believe it's possible to go pro. But I do think that it's very likely, and I do believe that there is some kind of natural talent that has to reside in an individual in order to do that, because there are players out there who have gone above and beyond to be pros. Now, I'm not going to name anybody in these videos, but I know that there are quite a few StarCraft professionals who have aspired to win tournaments and, you know, do well and, you know, bring home the big bucks, you know, like $$sign SOS for those of you who don't know, who won the $100,000 IEM tournament. There's a big difference between those types of players, and that natural talent I do believe you do have to have in order to go pro. Now, do I think you can put in a lot of hard work to attain that? I absolutely do think you can. But there's a lot of things that has to happen in order for that, you know, to blossom. First of all, you need to have the time, which, you know, not everybody has. The second thing that is the most important thing that I would say is the right practice. Sure, you can go on the ladder, but that's not always going to be the right practice. And this is part of the reason why a lot of those players who are professional are on teams and they live in houses and they play in-house games with their buddies or whatever, because they know that they are better than most of the people who are using the ladder, right? So when we talk about going pro, do I think you can? I absolutely believe you can with hard work. But I think it's very unlikely, and if you're going to pick up the game, I would not go into the game with that intention, because it is a very, very hard thing to accomplish. Possible, but not something you should aspire for when you are getting into the game. Number 5, what is the best way to learn? So when we talk about the best way to learn how to play StarCraft 2, first and foremost, I would recommend watching streams. Like, before even picking up the game at all, just watch streams and be interactive with the chat, be interactive with the broadcaster, ask questions that you might have, and then go from there. Because if you jump into StarCraft with literally no understanding of what's going on, it is a lot to take in. It's very overwhelming, things happen really fast, and it's really, really difficult to get into the game by just jumping into the game. So the first thing that I would recommend is just watch some streams. You know, see how people are playing, and you know, kind of go from there. Second to that, I believe that once you've done that, the next best thing for you to do is not carbon copy, and not necessarily mimic, but, you know, the basic things you need to practice. You know, like building probes, building pylons, learning build orders, and then applying those build orders into your game. And go into it not expecting to win, but expecting to get the basics down. And you just keep doing this. You just do this over and over and over again. You go into the game, you don't expect to win, you just work on building probes, work on building pylons, work on building drones, work on building, you know, marines, whatever. And just do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And as time goes on, you are going to get a natural feel for the game. And so, you know, a lot of people, I see a lot of coaching that goes out there. You don't need coaching. Sure, coaching can point you in the right direction, but at the end of the day, if you want to be a good, solid player, yeah, take some pointers. But don't buy coaching. Don't, you know, have somebody sit there and tell you everything under the sun, moon, and stars. Because the best way to learn is to do it yourself. It is genuinely the best way to learn how to play StarCraft 2. Because frankly, guys, it's not that hard of a game. It really isn't. If this was something like calculus or, you know, rocket science or, you know, something like that, then of course my logic would not apply. But this is a video game, and it truly is not that hard to play. You just have to be patient with it, and you just have to sit your ass down in your chair and play the game. And there's a lot of elements to, you know, getting good, but at the end of the day, if you are planting your ass in your seat and you are enjoying the game, you are eventually going to get decent. And that's going to be it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and like that video if you liked the video. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out.